The show started like any other morning, with Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa welcoming viewers with cheerful smiles. The energy was high, and the audience buzzed with excitement as the day's special guest, Prince Harry, was announced. But behind the scenes, tension was already simmering. As Prince Harry entered the set, applause filled the room. Dressed casually, he looked relaxed, yet a flicker of unease flashed across his face. Mark greeted him with a firm handshake, Kelly followed with a polite smile. The cameras rolled, and the first few minutes went smoothly. Kelly opened the conversation with light-hearted questions about Harry's new book. He responded with charm, describing fatherhood and adjusting to life in America. But when Mark shifted the topic toward the royal family, things took an uncomfortable turn. "Do you regret stepping away from your royal duties?" Mark asked bluntly. Harry paused, his jaw tightening slightly. "I don't live with regrets," he said. The audience tensed, sensing the shift. Mark didn't back down. "But many think you abandoned your country," he pressed. Kelly, trying to defuse the moment, interjected with a laugh, "Oh, Mark, you're going in hot today." But Harry's smile was gone. "I made a decision for my family's safety," he replied sharply. Mark leaned forward. "Safety or spotlight?" he said, raising an eyebrow. The tension grew thicker. Harry's demeanor hardened. "I think questioning someone's trauma publicly is irresponsible," he snapped. The live audience gasped. Kelly looked between them, visibly uncomfortable, as Mark doubled down. "Well, when you air family grievances in public, you invite public scrutiny," Mark shot back. Harry's eyes narrowed. "There's a difference between transparency and betrayal," he said coldly. The chemistry between host and guest had fully broken down. Kelly tried shifting to a lighter topic, Harry's charity work. But Harry wasn't letting go. "People criticize what they don't understand," he said. Mark replied, "or what they think is hypocrisy." The studio audience murmured uneasily. Harry leaned forward. "I came on this show to talk about mental health and change. Not to defend my life choices to morning talk show hosts." Kelly stiffened. Mark replied, "You chose this platform, Prince. We ask what our audience wants to know." A tense silence followed. Kelly gave a nervous laugh. "Let's all take a breath." But Harry wasn't having it. "You don't get to ambush me with tabloid narratives and call it journalism," he said sternly. Mark raised his hands. "It's not an ambush, it's accountability." Harry stood up slightly in his chair, adjusting his mic. "This is the problem. I'm here to advocate for healing, and all you want is controversy." Kelly turned to producers off-screen, clearly worried about how to recover the segment. Mark, unmoved, said, "If you want privacy, maybe morning TV wasn't the best choice." Harry stood up fully. "I think we're done here." The audience gasped. Kelly reached out. "Wait, Harry, let's just reset." But Harry began removing his mic. A producer ran in to intervene, but Harry waved them off. "I won't sit here and be mocked for trying to live authentically." Mark replied sharply, "No one's mocking you, we're just not buying the PR spin." The crowd fell completely silent. Kelly stepped between the two, trying to calm the escalating scene. "Let's take a break," she said nervously, but the damage was done. Harry was already heading off stage. Cameras continued rolling as producers scrambled. Once backstage, Harry told the crew, "You invited me under false pretenses." Kelly and Mark sat stunned. "We were transparent," Mark muttered. Kelly looked down, realizing the segment was spiraling into viral disaster. The show cut to an emergency commercial break. During the pause, heated words were exchanged off camera. Kelly reportedly asked producers if the segment could be cut completely, but it was too late, clips had already been screen captured by viewers. When the show returned, Kelly offered a calm statement. "We apologize for the intensity earlier. Emotions ran high, and sometimes live TV goes in unexpected directions." Mark remained silent, looking off camera. Social media exploded within minutes. Hashtags like #HarryVsmark and #TalkShowMeltdown began trending. Viewers were split. Some praised Harry for standing his ground, others criticized Mark for provoking him. Clips of the confrontation flooded X and Instagram. Memes, commentaries, and reaction videos piled up. The segment was replayed across major news outlets. Commentators debated whether Mark went too far or Harry was too sensitive. Kelly later addressed the incident during the show's final minutes. "We've always aimed to create space for honest conversation. Today tested that. She didn't mention Harry directly, but her tone was serious. The network issued a brief statement. "We stand by our hosts and value all guests. Differences of opinion are part of meaningful dialogue." But internally, executives were shaken by the fallout. Harry's team released a statement too. Prince Harry appeared in good faith to discuss his initiatives. He regrets the tone taken during the broadcast and believes in respectful discussion. It subtly shifted blame toward the show. Fans of Harry defended him passionately online, calling the interview a setup. "He was ambushed," one user posted. "You don't invite a guest to speak and then interrogate them," another wrote. Mark addressed it days later on his personal podcast, saying, "It wasn't personal. I asked questions millions are asking." He insisted he respected Harry but stood by his role as a journalist. The incident remained a defining moment for the show that year. Viewership spiked, but the controversy lingered. For some, it exposed the limits of celebrity interviews. For others, it was just another clash in the war between royalty and media. The incident remained a defining moment for the show that year. Viewership spiked, but the controversy lingered. For some, it exposed the limits of celebrity interviews. For others, it was just another clash in the war between royalty and media. Behind the scenes, producers held a crisis meeting. The fallout was worse than expected. Advertisers were calling, asking questions. Several sponsors expressed concern over the tone of the interview and the network's lack of moderation. Kelly, known for her calm and charm, was reportedly furious. "We're not here to start wars," she told the team. Mark, however, stood by his approach. "If we can't ask real questions, why invite anyone at all?" he said firmly. The day after the broadcast, every major outlet ran the story. Prince storms out, talk show showdown, Mark vs. Harry. Clips flooded YouTube. Analysts dissected body language. Commentators took sides. The royal family remained silent, but insiders hinted that the firm was unsurprised. "This is why he should never speak live," one royal correspondent noted. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle was said to be deeply upset by how Harry was treated. Supporters of Harry launched a campaign demanding an apology from the network. Petitions gathered thousands of signatures. Others mocked him for walking off. Late-night hosts ran parody skits. The moment became cultural cannon fodder. Kelly took to Instagram, posting a quote about kindness and empathy. She didn't name Harry but subtly distanced herself from the confrontation. Comments poured in, with followers both supporting and criticizing her. Mark, on the other hand, posted a selfie with the caption, "Tough questions. Tough crowd." It triggered a new wave of criticism. "He's proud of chasing away a guest," one user wrote. Another said, "This isn't journalism. It's ego." Talk show rivals chimed in. Tamron Hall defended Harry. "There's a line between pressing and provoking," she said. Meanwhile, The View debated the clash for an entire segment. Who crossed the line? Who played the victim? Podcasts exploded with hot takes. Conservative voices praised Mark for calling out hypocrisy, while progressive commentators accused him of ambushing a man sharing his trauma. It was no longer just about the show, it became a cultural flashpoint. Amid the firestorm, Prince Harry cancelled 2 upcoming interviews. His team cited scheduling issues, but insiders confirmed he was re-evaluating media appearances. "He's done with ambushes," one source claimed. At Buckingham Palace, the moment was viewed as validation. "This is why protocol matters," one aide told The Times. "When you stray from structure, you get chaos." The royal image of stability was reinforced by Harry's visible discomfort. In America, however, young viewers largely sided with Harry. On TikTok, Gen Z creators dubbed the moment, "the morning mess." Duets and reaction videos mocked the aggressive questioning. "Mark's giving Fox News energy," one viral post said. Kelly and Mark's show received a surge in ratings the next week. Controversy sells. But the producers knew they were treading a fine line. The tone had to shift quickly before it became toxic for daytime television. Kelly requested more control over guest interviews. She wanted less political heat, more personal stories. "We're entertainers, not prosecutors," she told the network. Mark reluctantly agreed to tone down his approach. Prince Harry, meanwhile, focused on his next move. He began working with mental health charities to launch a new initiative. "Let's center the message," he told his team. "I'm not going to be distracted by drama." Weeks later, Harry appeared on another show, pre-recorded, carefully edited. He spoke with compassion, clarity, and warmth. Not a single reference was made to his clash with Mark. But the contrast was unmistakable. During a charity gala, Harry made a veiled remark. "Sometimes truth is lost in noise," he said. Attendees took it as a subtle nod to the controversy. The crowd applauded. Meghan smiled supportively beside him. Meanwhile, Kelly and Mark addressed the event one last time on air. "We believe in open dialogue," Kelly said. "But we also believe in moving forward." Mark added, "Live TV is messy. We learn, we grow." The tension between them, however, hadn't entirely vanished. Insiders noted that Kelly and Mark began doing more solo interviews. The chemistry was under strain. Viewers picked up on the shift in tone. Fan pages and gossip sites speculated, was the Harry clash exposing deeper cracks in their dynamic? The show insisted everything was fine, but the unease lingered just beneath the surface. A few months later, Harry's documentary series dropped, chronicling mental health struggles among veterans. It was praised as powerful and heartfelt. Many noted how the show reinforced his sincerity, undoing some of the earlier criticism. When asked about Mark's remarks in an interview, Harry simply said, "I've moved on. I'm focused on healing. That's what matters now." It was a graceful dismissal of the drama. Behind the scenes, Mark was advised to step back from direct confrontation-style interviews. Producers wanted to avoid another headline-grabbing debacle. The risk outweighed the reward now. Kelly, in private conversations, admitted she felt caught in the crossfire. She never wanted the show to become combative. "It's morning TV, not cable news," she said to friends. Months passed. Ratings stabilized. The Harry clash faded from the news cycle. But YouTube clips still racked up views. The legacy of the moment persisted in internet history. Eventually, a comedy sketch on SNL parodied the confrontation. Harry, played by a guest star, dramatically stormed off after being asked what he eats for breakfast. It brought laughter, but also reminded everyone of how absurd things had gotten. Publications later named the incident one of the top 10 talk show clashes of the decade. It sat alongside confrontations involving Tom Cruise, Kanye West, and more. Harry's name was forever etched into daytime TV lore. Mark never apologized, but in a later interview he said, "I could have asked the same questions differently. I see that now." It was the closest he came to acknowledging regret. Kelly became more cautious, more reserved on air. She avoided live interviews with controversial figures for a while. The shadow of the clash hovered over their editorial choices. Prince Harry continued his philanthropic efforts. In the public eye, he seemed more confident, more selective. He learned to navigate the media minefield, perhaps a little wiser from the scars. The show eventually found its rhythm again. But viewers never forgot the morning Harry walked off. It became a symbol of how volatile, unpredictable, and raw live TV could be in an age of viral moments. Media analysts called it a turning point in celebrity interviews. Guests became more demanding about pre-screened questions. Trust between shows and stars had quietly eroded. And though Prince Harry and Mark Consuelos never met again, their clash remained a fascinating case study in fame, scrutiny, and the unpredictable nature of live confrontation. It raised deeper questions. Should stars be challenged on air? Should interviewers prioritize empathy or truth? The conversation outlived the moment, and that, some said, was the true legacy. In the end, it wasn't just a fiery moment, it was a cultural mirror. And for millions watching that day, it revealed more than anyone expected about power, perception, and the fragile thread connecting celebrities and the media. Weeks later, network insiders revealed that new guest guidelines were introduced. High-profile interviews now required written topic agreements. The aftermath of the Harry incident had officially changed daytime TV protocol. Other celebrities began requesting assurances before appearing. No surprise questions became a common demand. Trust between guests and producers had been shaken, all traced back to that one explosive morning. Mark, though still confident on air, reportedly grew more reserved in private. The backlash had been deeper than he admitted publicly. He knew he'd misjudged the tone. The lesson was learned, but at a cost. Kelly remained the steady center. Her professionalism helped keep the show afloat during those rocky weeks. Viewers appreciated her grace, and slowly, her reputation became more distinguished as the diplomatic anchor of the duo. Prince Harry, meanwhile, chose silence. He never responded again to the controversy, never spoke Mark's name, and never mentioned the interview. It was as though he had closed the door on that chapter for good. The moment, however, lived on in digital eternity. Reaction videos, analysis breakdowns, memes, it became part of pop culture curriculum. Communication students even studied it in media ethics classes. Years from now, when people recall daytime television's most controversial moments, this one will resurface. Not just for the drama, but for the insight it offered into how quickly conversations can collapse under tension. For Prince Harry, it was a reminder of the microscope he still lives under. For Mark and Kelly, it became a career checkpoint, highlighting the need for balance, respect, and tone in live broadcasting. Ultimately, the incident reshaped more than just a show. It reshaped relationships between media and celebrity, reminded audiences of the importance of empathy, and proved how live moments can define legacies. And though the cameras stopped rolling and the headlines faded, the impact remained. A single interview, a few sharp words, and a walk-off became a symbol of conflict, vulnerability, and the ever-thin line between truth and spectacle.